Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Sakura, Sikhi, and Strength, where I am so excited to have my maternal grandmother, my Nanima, joining us today. Nanima is here. She's going to share some of her life lessons and her words of wisdom. I am so excited that she is making the time to come, and I can't wait for you all to hear what she has to say. So, Nanima, welcome.
Good morning to you, and it's evening time for me, so good evening.
So, Nanima, can you please share a little bit about your childhood and your earliest memories?
I was born in a place called Jhelum, which was then part of India and not now any longer, but it was a very beautiful place, and we were there till I was about 2 or 3 years. Then my father started doing trade of dry fruit, so that is how we landed in Persia. Well, when I was 6 or 7 year old, we were living in Persia.
And how old were you when you left Persia?
I think I was about 7.
7. Okay. And do you remember when you came to Delhi? Did you go straight from Persia to Delhi?
Yes, we came straight to Delhi. We already had our grandparents living there.
And what was Delhi like when you were growing up compared to now?
Well, when we were growing up, it was very safe. There was a very large garden, well known, a Lodi garden, where we used to go to play. 4, 5, 3 kids, we could just walk out about a kilometer away, and we felt absolutely safe. There was no traffic, hardly a car would pass by. And my passion was to climb trees. So I think there were about 300 or more trees, but I'm sure I climbed at least 200 of them growing up there and never had a fall.
You
Never
never
had
had
a
a
fall.
fall? That's very impressive.
And never had a fall.
So some of your favorite pastimes were climbing trees. And did you do it with friends or with family, with your siblings?
There's family. It's always family.
And what was it like growing up in your home? I know my buddy Nani, who was your mother, she was a big part of my life too, up until, she passed when I was in my early 20s. Can you tell us a little bit about what she was like as a mother?
She was very loving, very caring, and she was very fond of cooking. And she would ask everybody, what's your favorite food? And she'd go and make it, and she'd make sure that it came out right.
And what was it like in your home between your parents? What was the relationship like, and how did you feel loved and secure by?
They were an extremely loving couple, an enviable one, and they were very fond and very kind to their children, and they wanted to teach us a lot of things. And the self confidence that I have, I think it comes because my parents were so loving and caring for us, and we never saw any dispute between our parents. And they gave us the strength always to remain strong. And we
Got it.
never felt weak. We never felt weak.
Right. And I think that's also something that I've mentioned in my previous messages and episodes that, I think so much of that stability and that confidence came from the stable home environment I came from. And it also came from the fact that my parents did have a pretty healthy relationship, and they did show so much affection to me and my siblings that we did feel confident in going out and doing things and trying and taking risks in life. And I attribute a huge part of that to our upbringing.
And a stable home makes their children very, very strong and gives you a very self confidence. No matter where you're standing, whether you've been there once before or not, you'll always carry yourself nicely.
Yes.
You will never let anybody down.
You always tell me there's a difference between raising children and child rearing versus just having kids and letting them grow up. Can you tell us a little bit about the lessons of how you learned how to raise your children, and what did you do that maybe you learned from your parents? What did you do to really make sure your kids would be strong, developed, confident, secure adults?
You see, the family itself has to have a very safe environment and teach the children and make sure both parents are teaching the same thing, not contradicting each other and not leading them astray. And raising a child is different from a child growing up. Anybody growing up means it doesn't mean he's raised. Who is raised? Who has been taught and tended for and cared for uh, in all aspects of life.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head there. And then what changes have surprised you the most during your lifetime?
Well, growing up, we have seen so many changes, and especially the technology that has changed from landlines to cordless phones to faxes to pagers. and mobiles. That was the greatest thrill, that you could call all your sisters and brothers and relatives in a moment. Somebody had a baby, you got the news within a few seconds.
Right.
Something bad happened, you got to know that also. And it was great keeping in touch with everybody, and at a free cost.
That's right. Now it's free.
Yes,
Yes.
it's free. We were paying in those days, I remember, but it was still fun because you could do it immediately
Right.
and not have to wait for somebody. In the olden days, we were hanging on to the phones and saying, okay, okay, connect me. And then we barely got a word across. Okay, I'll write you a letter now.
Oh,
to
really?
tell you,
Can you
yes.
can you actually tell me a little bit about that time? I mean, so before you had the phones, I know in your local neighborhood you had phones you would go to, right? Or how would you call an operator to be connected to someone? How did that
So
work?
there was a special number. So we call an operator and give the number where we wanted to go and tell them the city code. Most of the operators never knew the city code, so we had to make sure we knew it right ourselves. And then they would put us through. The connections were never very clear, and we were saying hello more often than we were really getting our message across.
Oh,
It was not nice going and standing there. These places were not air cooled. They were not, they're just fans and very small and dingy. And it was not comfortable standing there. But that was the only way to get across. So we were
right.
happy to do it.
That's right.
No choice.
Amazing. That's so interesting. What has stayed constant for you despite all of the changes that you've witnessed?
Well, first of all, in our growing years, our parents were very strong, teaching us all the good values of humanity and family and about the Lord Almighty, that we would learn to do good things. And in doing that, we became very strong in ourselves and we learned to keep our self esteem, which is very important for every human being. And most of all for women, because women were not treated well in those eras and they were not given a chance to keep her self respect. And some girls who got married and had happy relationships with their husbands, they were really lucky. But those were very few. Most of them had to go through very hard times. And especially if it was a joint family, then she'd have a tougher time to go through. So that was pretty tough for them. But we were fortunate wherever we were growing up. We had good, classy people around us with good family values and were very well taken care of.
I know when my mother was growing up, you seem to have a really close knit set of girlfriends. Could you talk a little bit about the Thursday Nannies?
Well, we were very lucky. We were two friends of ours living in the same colony. And then we got together and then we said, let's meet one day in the week. Then slowly, she had some of her school friends come into the same locality where we were living. Some of my friends from school came to live in the same locality.
So which locality are you talking about?
Well,
What neighborhood?
this was called it was called Maharani Bagh in Delhi, in New
Okay.
Delhi, and so like this, everybody brought one more friend. So we were like about 12, 13 of us. We'd get together.
Okay. So would you
So
say this was around the 60s, late 50s,
69,
70s?
ending 69
Okay.
to 70s. And so we were friends, so we were sharing a lot of things with each other, helping and giving advice. If A happened, this is how you should be. Keep calm, do not react easily. Whenever you're going to answer somebody, think twice. Make sure you get the right answer. Do not project yourself in a hurry in a negative manner. But then also our children were growing up, so they all made good friends with each other. So some were going Kathak dancing together, others were going swimming together. So like that, we had carpools for different groups. In the evening after doing homework, the summer days were very long. And for those people who were not traveling out to the other cities or countries, they used to go together and have a lot of fun. And fortunately, this young group has also grown up and made their own get community.
Reunions. Right.
Yes, unions, and they're very happy keeping in touch.
Right.
But for me and my children's generation, we were really fortunate.
So,
Really
so
fortunate.
you were able to basically raise your children up with these group of friends, and
And we
everyone,
all
it
had
seemed,
this,
took care of each other. So if someone needed
yes,
something, someone else would step in. If someone's child
yes,
needed something,
yes,
other people would help out.
for sure, for sure.
And what was
So,
it like? Did all of your husbands know each other and get along, or was that a separate thing, or did you also socialize together?
no, we did socialize together, but not all, not the entire group of 12, 13. There was a group of 5 or 6 of us who were more together, more often together, and spent more time with each other, going to movies together, going to picnics together, and having parties at home. In those days, it was a great thing to have a dance party at home,
Yes,
which
please
was,
tell me about your dance parties, Nani.
yes. So we used to have dance parties, and especially on New Year's Eve, everybody used to like to come to my houses,
Right,
my home, because there was no charge on the entry.
right.
All other places had charges, and
No
the
charges to enter the party.
no charges coming to the party in my home, while other people who had parties were charging fabulous amounts and trying to drag the crowd.
What kind of parties would you throw? Would it be like food, music? Would you be
Yes, it's
dancing?
all snacks and dancing and music. And music was mostly provided by my friend. Her dad had compiled a lot of dancing music together in his young days, which was popular for very many long years. It doesn't normally last, but those dance pieces lasted very, very long. And so, and they were all modern dances, and everybody was dancing respectfully. Nobody was misbehaving with anybody.
So when you say modern dancing, I'm assuming you mean Western dancing, correct? Like,
Western
yeah.
dancing, yes, Western dancing. And there was not so much jazz in those days. It was like waltz, foxtrot,
Oh,
samba, samba.
samba. Who was
Yes,
dancing samba? Nani, did you know how to dance
yes.
samba?
My husband did. I was not too good at it. But then
Nanaji used to dance
we
to
were,
samba? Oh my
he
God.
used to dance everything. When he started dancing tango, everybody would go off the floor. Not everybody can do tango.
No, it's quite difficult. My husband and I did it for our
Yes.
reception dance, actually. It was,
Yes,
do you
I
remember?
remember that. Yes.
So,
But
can you tell me what would you serve at these tango parties? Like, what would you serve?
they were all
Alcohol or
snacks.
wine, champagne?
We did alcohol, wine was spent, no champagnes, wines, alcohol, all various kinds, and food was snacky, and it was served in a different room. Whoever was hungry would go there, take your drinks.
Would the ladies drink as well, or was it just the men?
Very few ladies drank hard drinks like whiskey and all, but wines, everybody.
Everybody
Wines,
would have
people
some
were.
wine. Okay.
Some wine, some
Oh,
wine.
that's so much fun. Wow. Nani, I wish I got to see you back
And these
then.
parties used to last till 3 or 4 in the morning. We'd start at 10 and they last till 3 or 4. Stopped doing these parties because I changed into my lifestyle completely. After a few years, I said, had enough of this. Now need to get on to the being a little more quiet because the children were going up to be teenagers. I didn't want them to have any more fancy ideas like this. It's okay when they were small and it's okay. When they became teenagers, all these parties stopped in the house.
My other question for you is how did you feel when your daughter, my mother, moved at such a young age to Japan and then was raising children between different cultures?
Well, speaking frankly and honestly, Asians and Indians have a lot of similarity in their cultures and their upbringing. Manner of speech is very soft, polite. They care for their seniors, and honesty is a big thing for them also.
In
And
Japan,
courtesy
correct.
in
Yes.
Japan, and courtesy is a very big thing. So I was not afraid that they would be going haywire or they will miss their line of living honestly and upright. So it was, other than the language, there was going to be no barrier. And your mother was sent to a college to learning the language because
Right.
obviously she didn't know it. But she learned the
But she
language
did
and
learn the
she
language.
made many friends. And she made many friends there. That was a very good idea by your grandma there in Japan that she should have independent friends, not have my friends' children. That was a very beautiful thought. I always praised her for that.
Oh,
To give somebody, because in a foreign country you have nobody who's yours. So sometimes you do have some secrets which you want to throw out of your system.
yeah.
So it's nice to have somebody who will not carry it it can carry tales in the society.
The next topic I want to focus on is Sikhi, our faith, our identity, our relationship with Waiguruji. And I would love for you to tell everyone, what role has Sikhi played in your life journey?
Especially my dad. He came from a very, very strong faith and Sikhi in many generations from his seniors. Sikhi was not very common or popular at that time. It was not so widely spread. So some of the men, when they married, it was not necessarily to a Sikh lady who had grown up with the same tenets, but my mother, because she was so loving, anything dad did, she wanted to do it. And, and she do it with her best efforts and put her heart and soul into it to make her husband happy. So, like this, our faith became very strong because both parents were teaching us the same things. It is not that they were saying, one parent is saying go right, the other parent is saying go left. It's very important when you're teaching the children something, both parents should be on the same page.
And how has your relationship with faith changed over your lifetime? Or has it even changed?
My faith has not changed, it will not change. Sikhi has a great bent towards community service wherever
Seva.
there
All
is,
right.
seva, community service, that wherever there is a tragedy, natural or war or anything, they will go there and help give the people food because that's the basic that every human being needs to live. And then whatever the medicines they can help with or not, that also they try. But the food is never, and they don't say we will give it to a person because he's sick or he's so and so and so.
And I think there is a general call that Sikhs feel
Yes.
that when something is going on, we have to do something about it. And obviously, food, as you've mentioned in our gurdwaras, is served to everybody, regardless of their background and their personal faith. So, how did you balance maintaining cultural traditions while also adapting to changing times?
It was not really difficult for us because of the way British ruling over our country. We were studying in Jesuit schools, so we did learn a lot of things from them, from the school, and other children who were coming from other parts of the world. And when we grew up, also, we had many friends from different nations, from the MSC's crowd. We were able to move around with them, meet with them.
I want to go into a different theme of our talk together. This one is going to be about strength and resilience. And I want to ask you, Nanima, what has been the most challenging period of your life? And how did you find the strength to move through it?
Well, the biggest shock I got was that I became pregnant very soon after my marriage. It should have taken longer time, but my first born was a son who was born totally blind. And I was absolutely devastated. How could that happen to me? Well, it did happen. So I had to take charge of him. It took quite a few months to get used to this idea that this is my destiny. He has come to me, must be some old contacts from somewhere, and it's going to be very hard for me to look after him and care. But unfortunately, I did not get much emotional or physical help from my family. But any monetary help I needed was not denied at all. In fact, it was offered. You have so much before it finishes, take more and do the best you can. So, going to various doctors, I was always reading these books that they have in the magazines that come to the doctors from different parts of the world and in their clinics. And there I got to learn a very sad thing that a similar son had been born to somebody in Holland. In that book, they said, we are not going to make our child a blind child. We are going to teach him Braille. We are going to teach him verbally. So that was a very big lesson for me. So that's what I started doing with him, talking to him, playing on his hands with his fingers, telling him what a ball is, what a pencil is, and things like that. So when I came home, slowly, slowly, I started taking him out with me. I did not want to hide him. I did not want that people should not know that he's got this birth problem. So I was always taking him out with me. I was taking him to the gardens. I was telling him what swing was. I put him in my lap and swing up and down. take him to the seesaw, let him sit alone on the seesaw. Then as he grew up, taught him how to cycle in my garden. Of course, he was not allowed to go out cycling on the
Of
road.
course, no, of course, that would be dangerous.
But we had long drives where 2, 3 cars were parked, so they would be parked outside. So he could drive there and feel, other children are cycling, so am I cycling.
Right. I think one interesting thing you told me, which I would love for you to share with everybody, is when, my mother told me that she and her younger sister used to ride with him on the bicycle. And of course, he couldn't see, but they would scream out, go left, go straight, turn right. And people
Yes,
would come up to you. So, what would people tell you when you would let all three of your children do that?
they said I was completely mad. One child is already in a problem, and you're risking all the other two also. You will lose all three together. I said, I will not lose them. I have faith in my God and my children. And in those days, the traffic was very, very minimal.
And again, this is
And
still in I would say 1970s.
early 70s. And
And what else did you think? Because you said something to me that was very profound a couple of days ago. And I think you said something along the lines of, I'm letting him do this with his sisters because it's going to give him the
the
confidence.
confidence.
Can you talk a little bit
So
about that?
yes, uh, because he was elder, so he was allowed to hold the hand of the younger sister and walk her out. Go on the road, we're going to play with the neighbors, we're going to do this with the neighbors. So he never felt that the sister was guiding him. He knew that he was guiding her. So the sister would not talk and say, now go left, go right. She just pulled him gently with her hands
Right.
and think that he is the leader, not I.
And that really built
So,
up his confidence, which you have already said was so important going through life, to always have your own self-respect and confidence.
yes.
And you always
No,
gave
but
that to him, because there were quite a few families I know we've talked about, especially in that time when their child had some kind of a disability, they would almost hide the child and just have aides
not
coming
only
to
hide
them.
the child, I know 1 or 2 people, not from my own background and strata, they gave up their children to these homes,
What kind of homes? Like orphanages or like a clinic home?
like clinical homes,
Okay.
where they would look after the children and, of course, pay for it and all that. And then there was another case with a similar problem that my son was born with, but she was a girl. And so she changed her faith from Sikhi to Sai Baba, and he performed a miracle on her, and she got back her normal eyesight. And she persuaded me very hard. She says, forget about the Sikh, he's not going to take you anywhere. You please uh, go there and get your son treated and things. I said, no, I'm not going to leave my Sikhi, I'm not going to leave my gods. This is my destiny. I'm happy to take care of it.
So, Nani, tell me academically, having a child who was blind in a system that did not cater to children with special needs, how did you manage to get him through his academic life? But also, what all did you do behind the scenes to make sure that you did your best to set him up for success?
Yes, so first of all, I was very fortunate. My sister's children were going to a school called St. Xavier's, and he was in the same class as his first cousin. And so, whatever they would do in class, he would hear and do whatever he could. But he would come home, so I'd get the notes from the cousin and tape them in a in those days we had Grunding tape recorders, which were very, very old now. I don't think anybody hears about. So I tape it there so that he could hear it again and again and memorize it. But first, I will let him know the meaning of the words and things like that, so he would get the sentence straight, and then he would also get the meaning. So that was also part of my homework.
And what
So
about the letters and the numbers? How did you teach him those things?
same thing with the chart paper, number
What
1, number 2, 3.
what kind
So
of paper was it?
sandpaper.
Okay.
So you see, chart paper is very plain. The sandpaper on it, cut in different forms, different alphabets and numbers. He learned English like that. He learned Hindi like that. He learned numericals like that, so that he could go to school and he could write. I put in a lot of effort. And in those days, 3 consecutive years, I was very lucky that they had the World Ophthalmic Conferences in Delhi.
Yes.
So one doctor came, and I was able to, and since my father was working in a medical pharmaceutical company, so they had all the names of the doctors and their specialities. So I was managed to find one doctor whom I would want to get my son to be seen by. That doctor was so excited and begged me. He said, I want you to give me this child. I'll take you and your husband. You all come and live with me in South America. And I said, sir, you don't know what a firstborn Indian son means to an Indian family. This is never going to happen.
Yeah.
But he tried a lot for 6, 7 months, even after he went back.
He wanted you as a family to go and live with him so that he could, I guess.
He wanted to use him for research.
Okay.
I got to know from my dad that there was a doctor who had made some special scissors. He had made them, and he had performed many operations, and maybe he could help us. So I managed to get the appointment, and he said, we're going for a conference, you rung up too late, but if you can get here in 20 minutes, I will have 10, 15 minutes for you, which we did. They were staying at the Ashoka. That was the thing of those days. So we went there, and he saw him, and he said, yes, my scissors can do a lot of good for him, at least for 3, 4 years. He will be able to see a little bit more than what he can do now. And so I said, fine. He said, this is my hospital address. I will write the letter and you give me the address and then post it to us.
Do you mean the instrument he needed?
The instrument.
So you had to bring in the instrument for this surgery from this one doctor who was available. Okay. And he was willing to do it. The only one doctor who could really do it back then.
Well, it was his specialty, so he could do it.
Right.
So, but in my excitement and not having enough knowledge, I called for the instrument on my name instead of calling for it in the doctor's name.
Got it.
That was a very big mistake I made. So when I got the message from the post office, the instrument is here, I was very excited. So I went there and spoke to the postmaster. He said, yes, but I'm not giving you this because you're going to make a lot of money on it. So you give me money and I'll give you the instrument. Mm-hmm. I said, definitely not. I'm not going to make money. The doctor will do the surgery and he'll take the instrument back. He says, I don't believe you. So no amount of argument was going to make me win. So I left and came home. I had my lunch and I was very upset with everybody. Nobody wanted to come with me and help me out. He said, forget about the whole story. I said, I'm not going to forget.
No, it's your son.
I'm a fighter and I will fight. So what I did was, I didn't go back the same day. I went back the next day. And straight after lunch, I knew what his lunchtime break was. So I went into his office and nobody was allowed to go to postmaster's room without permission. And you couldn't just walk in. I knew what I was going to do. I had a plan in my head. I picked up in those days we used to have a certain color of a curtain, so I could see his inside. So I picked up the curtain and I recognized the parcel. So I just, picked it up like in a split second and walked out and ran out of the post office. Fellow was flabbergasted. He says, my goodness, he thought he lost a lot of money. He was going to make money from that. So he came out and asked the person on guard, why did you allow her in? He said, she didn't give me a moment. She just pulled the curtain and walked right in. So he said, where's the car? Where's she going? He said, I don't see any car here. So the plan was not to take the car because car could be traced. So I ran out of the post office main gate, and instead of turning right where people go towards the right direction to the main road, I turned the opposite side. So I stayed there for a long time. I didn't see him, but this is what I heard many months later from that person, the guard. And I took the instrument and told the doctor I have it in my hand.
Right. So basically, I mean, you did buy the instrument, you brought it over for the doctor, and because the postmaster wanted a bribe, essentially, yes. He wanted a bribe, and you refused to give it. And then you needed the instrument for your son's procedure. You just ended up taking it from his desk the next day in front of him. So that's pretty gutsy, Nani. I'm shocked and I'm not shocked, but I'm certainly impressed because a mother's love knows no bounds.
Somebody says to me, who taught you to do that? I said, nobody. It's my strength for my child.
Yes.
It's a mother's love.
It's a mother's love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you try and how do you continue to instill resilience in your children?
You see, the first thing I taught my children is that you look at a day. The sun rises, it's morning. It's going to settle down halfway, it's afternoon. Then it's evening and night. In one day, you have 4 changes. and it is repetitive. Look at the seasons of the year: autumn, winter, spring come the flowers, summer. So there is nothing that is standard and static forever.
Right. Nothing is permanent.
Nothing is permanent.
Right.
So things will always change. And in a family that we were very privileged and but again, same thing, same theory applies for our work. It didn't always stay on the top of the ground.
Right.
It also went down. And so there were some hard times. There were some hard times. And we should tell the children we have to all stay together and we have to pull ourselves through. And we're not going to get scared that, oh, we can't do this, all our friends will be doing this, and they're going to holidays, we won't be doing, we won't have our cars. I said, it doesn't matter. Your friendship with people is not over your material goods.
Right.
Your friendship is with who you are and what you do. So if you do that right and carry it the same way, I doubt if any friend of yours will walk out on you.
Right. And if they do, they weren't really meant to be your friends.
They weren't meant to be.
They weren't meant to be yours. And what qualities do you think women need most to thrive in today's world?
First of all, it's very important education. Education is a must for everybody, but extra special for women. And earlier days, nobody taught, they were not allowed to go more than fifth or sixth class just so they knew their basics. But now, education is playing a very big part, and it is very important and necessary, and very happy to see that these women are taking the courage and studying and doing well in life and holding their themselves, holding their esteem and holding their self-respect, and not buying down to the men and society to pull them down as much as society can get away with. It's a very hard thing. But many women, I think more women are now strong enough and are managing to do what they need to do, what they want to do.
Right. And just very briefly, I know, you discussed a little bit about going through good times and bad times financially. I think when you got married, socioeconomically, you had a certain status that was very comfortable for you. And then over time, and just like it's normal in everyone's life, there's
Everybody,
it happens.
everything's a full circle. Everything is a full
Exactly.
circle. You can't be on the top of the crown every time.
Right. So how did you get through those times when, the money, let's say, was a little tight, or you felt that you couldn't necessarily provide the same kind of lifestyle that you could for your children?
It's okay. We taught them that this is also part of life's learning. Learning. You must learn how to deal with every situation in life and can't be stuck up. You have to learn your humility.
Right.
You have to learn how to be soft and nice
Right.
and not be ashamed of being humble. Humility is not to be shameful.
When you were going through some hard times, you still wanted your children to still stay exposed. And I think that speaks volumes, because instead of saying, okay, all 5 of us can no longer participate in this activity, you did have a great set of friends who you would ask to say, would you mind taking one of these kids to this event with you? Because, we all can't go. So if you could take one with you. And you still managed to give your kids that exposure that you were giving them before.
Yes, I think that credit goes to all my friends, not to me. But it was my humility to ask for it.
Right.
So the friends were very nice to oblige.
Right. Exactly.
Like
and to still hold your head up high, regardless
yes,
of what it looks
yes.
like. And I know you have a story that you would like to share of when you were invited to speak at a doctor's conference. What happened there? So you didn't have something appropriate to wear, or you didn't have a new dress to wear?
Both.
Okay.
And so I was telling a story to a friend of mine. She said, well, if you like, I can lend you my Indo-Western dress, if that's what you're looking for. I said, maybe that'll be a good idea in my head. But first I thought, no, this friend is being cheeky. Then I said to myself, why? She's not being cheeky. She's helping me out. And why should I have my nose up in the air? I just say to her very sweetly, thank you. I'd like to try it on. If it works for me, I will use it for the occasion.
Right.
Which I did. And I was glad I did, because it somehow made the doctors who were from the other part of the world, most of them were Americans and 1 or 2 British. And, my physical appearance and my talk did make an impression on them because they kind of related to me and the way I presented it. They were quite happy to hear all that I had to say.
But could you share your experience during 1984, the anti-Sikh riots in Delhi? What do you remember the most vividly from that time?
Well, there was a little bit of scare, and I think that was the first time that I felt my faith has to be much stronger to keep up with it because every now and then I hear this Sikh family has cut their hair, Sikh family is in hiding, and stories like that. And I said, no, I'm not going to hide and I'm not going to do this, but I have to take care. So we were basically staying in our home with all the curtains drawn, and it's like a blackout that you would have in a wartime.
Okay.
And some of the people in the colony were very nice. They were coming and asking, do you have enough food? Do you have enough milk? Do you have other things that you need? And they were bringing us our stuff, that whatever we asked for. And then the day they were going to cremate Indira Gandhi, that was a very hard day. So my husband's younger brother, he organized an army transport for us, and we all went and stayed in the Hyatt for 3-4 days till the cremation was over and her prayers were over, and they had to have all the dignitaries come in and things like that.
And you did that for your family's safety and protection?
For the family's safety and protection.
And how do you feel your identity as an Indian woman has evolved throughout your life?
I really never thought about it, but going through the various changes the country was going on, and we were getting exposed to more and more of the world outside us. So we kept moving with the times. We didn't just stay back and stay where we were and don't look left and right and don't try to learn anything new. So we tried to do whatever was possible, and I don't know, I think we managed quite well.
Yeah.
We didn't. Nobody called us, oh, you are very backward, you don't know what's happening in the city or what's happening in the country, or what's happening in the world. We try to keep up with the times.
Right. What's the most important piece of wisdom you'd like to pass on to your grandchildren and great-grandchildren?
Do not get browbeaten by anybody. Hold your identity, hold your self-esteem, and stay strong in your beliefs. Do not let anybody browbeat you. Don't let anybody browbeat you. That's a legacy I would like to leave my children. And I'll tell you, the legacy that I want to leave my children is not the material goods. Cousins and relatives from my mother's side of the family, my father's side of the family. I feel very rich when I have so many people rallying around me, my family. You feel rich when you have your own family standing by you, which we do.
Which we do. And you have done that to our family. You have instilled it with my mom, and she did that for us. What are you most grateful for when you reflect on your life's journey?
I was always grateful for whatever came my way, and ups and downs come in everybody's life. I was grateful that I never let go of my faith, which held me strong and kept me going.
That's really beautiful, Nani. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your life lessons. I mean, I'm so privileged because I get to call you and I can ask you questions all the time. I also get to vent to you when I'm going through things in my life, and you've always been there. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story with everybody.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. And this is our greatest prayer. Thank you, always, with our hands joined.